much higher do I need to go? I need to go that much higher. Should I bring her back? Yeah, that should work. Maybe a little bit lower. All right, so yeah, the first minute is me not succeeding. I thought it showed up a lot better, but it didn't. There we go. Okay. Oh, okay. So I've already used up a minute and a half, and I haven't even begun to talk about what the dose is. Everybody pretty much is, or you should be, the hero in your own story, your life story, and everything like that. So this is dealing with storytelling. For me, I always have villain or villains. You usually have, could be a whole group. And the way I tell villains, and this is, I've even had myself as a villain for this very reason in some of the stories I've told, is the way I create a villain is I don't use the other person because I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know their motivations. And half the time they don't make sense to me at all. It's completely, they're completely baffling. I do like self-interest, people who are looking out for their self-interest, even at the harm or detriment of others. I usually, when I encounter other people or have to interact with other people, the main thing that I do is see what their motivation is and whether that's a benefit to me or a detriment to me. And usually my continued interactions with them is depending on how much it benefits me. So I'm doing pretty much the same thing that I think that they're doing. I am in other people's stories in the world. There are people that I would consider villains in my story. And I would imagine, and in some cases it's pretty much guaranteed that I am the villain in their story. So instead of writing them as the villain, I take it from their point of view and I write myself. This is where a lot of the correlations that I do with things is the reason why I don't see differences between flags or passions, or I don't, other people who have all these things, I have my own passions and stuff like that, and I have things that I love, cherish, and protect. Everybody has those things, and my villains tend to go into the bully aspect of it, but it's how I bully, not how they are bullies. Again, they don't have self-interest in mind. Some bullies, I don't even know why. They choose, they would rather cut themselves off. They would rather lose so that other people around them won't gain. I tend to not write villains like that. I tend to the villains in my thing do not have that type of self-destruction in mind. And for me, it makes my villains very relatable and almost intertwining, that the reader could actually forget who who's the villain in my story and who's the hero in my story. Especially if I'm the way the story is told, that I am the detriment, I am the bad in the story. The the other people in the story who normally would be the villains are my heroes, and when the hero is the villain type, I tend to not give any character complete purity. I have them think that they have it. I have them, admonish themselves and stuff like that for their self righteousness. But no characters without flaws. I think that the flaws in every human being is basically what makes them kind of interesting. And I think that if you take that away from them, if you make a character who can do no wrong, can do no harm, can do, if you can't do any wrong, then you can't do any right. So you need to grow your characters. And even my younger characters, the ones starting out, I used to kind of relate them to like kind of Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is a flawed character right off the bat. He's jealous. He's envious. He is very selfish. And these are all the things that you have within a few moments. As soon as he meets R2D2 and C3PO, you know this about this character. You know that he is not, this a true heart or anything like that. He's a bit naive, but you know these things about this character. He has those in him. And I've always thought that's one of the reasons why Obi-Wan Kenobi did not train him, is because he saw too much of his father in him. That's one of the theories that I had, early on, and and also where Princess Leia was concerned, same thing. Too much of their father in them. And it's kind of sad because even the Padme that showed up in the prequels was kind of more of a cardboard character. She really didn't have much. Even supposed to be her undying love towards Anakin they didn't quite make it in the screen. And I don't know if it's Natalie Portman's fault or not. It's definitely the script's fault. That definitely wasn't written in the scripts, but I've seen, there are better actors so that can actually can pull that off, with not, not being given much, and they make much more out of it. And the Padme character definitely didn't show up with that much a thing. So, but back to the villains. I think they're essential. I don't think that they're essential for real life. I think real life should be boring. I think real life should be kind of mundane. And I don't think you need that type of conflict in your life unless you are, doing a story about it. I don't need it. I am definitely, when, if I can't, I'm only a fight if I can't flight. So if it's a fight or flight scenario, I am flight. I am out. I will burn bridges to get away if I have to. And I am not notorious for that, but that is definitely my modus operandi. So I am definitely like, I have been cornered and I will fight if I have to. But usually fight is not my my original response. Characters, even telling past stories about me, I usually leave that part out. That the part where I was forced into it, where I was cornered, or all that stuff. I usually leave that part of the stories out because that part of the story kind of like drags the story down. And it's not necessarily makes me look good or bad. It basically it changes the dynamic of what I'm trying to say in the story. So I'm a little more brutal, even though you could probably say that the things that I've done equal to the brutality that I tell in my stories, but I don't. I'm a little more. I think things through a little bit more. I do weigh consequences, and I do have like this, but for the most part, when I tell a story of a villain, the villain is me. It is not an amalgamation of other people. It is things that they've done, but I usually justify those things with things that how I would have done them or why I would have gotten to that conclusion. I create the chain of who I or of how I would have gotten to that thing, because I've ended up in some situations where I could definitely say that it did not, as far as not going as planned. It definitely was in that realm of everything went where everything goes wrong for me, and I don't see another option other than to end the situation with a violent response. And when I say violent response, people usually think it's usually physical, but I think mental brutality is even can be even more damaging. And I am very good at getting to people verbally, their weak spots and stuff like that. And I like I said, my initial response is to is to end it and get away from the situation, is to remove myself from the situation that's going on before it gets out of hand. There are a lot of times when that is not possible. And even with, being a completely destructive in my wake to get out, I am still usually forced into, it would for me to fight, it has to be forced into, this isn't, I'm a diplomacy over physical violence. And I am diplomacy. I am over, we're going to settle this before we get into even a mental or verbal altercation. And I do consider those fights too, because whenever I talk about fights, I talk about how I never win fights, even ones where people have declared me the victor. There is no winning. It is survival. I only fight for my survival. I only fight for, and like I said, there are hills that I will die on, and I will fight. I will fight to survive. And again, I think that because it is the hill that I will die on, that is one of the reasons, that I've been forced into the situation where I can't get away from it, because that's the hill I will die on. And that's how it works. But that's how I would write a villain. These are their motivations. I know the motivations of the character, but I also get into how they get to that conclusion. And I usually do it the way I would do it. And I know that I am very far from being a normal person. So it's, the worlds that I create are filled with Sean's all over the place. So it's, and I think that if there was a bunch of me's running around, we would definitely be in, high conflict with each other all the time. So, and I wouldn't want that anyway, because that would be kind of boring, because we wouldn't get anywhere. But scenarios, situations, advantages, even the luck, those are the things that play roles into how villains are formed in my world. And like I said, it's not, any villain that I've ever written is definitely not even close. Even if it's actions that somebody has done to harm me, they're not even close to the person that it seems to be. It is me. All pretty much all characters in every story, all of them, male, female, animal, sentient, AI computers is really just me. Not even something else outside of me. Um, and I think that also speaks to the diversity of me, or I shouldn't say just of me, the diversity of a human being. What human beings are so diverse that they can be all of those things. So when you're telling a story, you're only seeing a fraction of what a person actually is. And that's amazing. And most people don't, it's like the stupid, I was going to call it stupid. The Myers-Briggs test there's a reason for it. But the problem is that maybe I have, DIDS or multiple personality disorder, but I am an amalgamation, at any given time. Any given time, I could be any of those things on the Myers-Briggs test. I can have any of the associations, and not just a small bit. It's not like, oh, well, you're mostly an introvert, but you have a little bit of extrovert in you. No, I can be 100% introvert and I can be 100% extrovert according to the test. So the test for me, where I believe I'm an INFP. As an INFP, those are just things that I tend more comfortable. I'm more comfortable being an INFP than being like an ENS ENSJ. I don't remember what the complete opposite of an INFP is. I have that in me, and not just like, again, not like, oh, he's got like, it's a percentage of Sean. No, I can be that character. I can be the extrovert. I can be those things without any hesitation. That's the reason. One of the reasons why most people who see me or have known me for years will swear to you that I am an extrovert. And the reason they'll swear to you I'm an extrovert is because I'm not shy. Just because I'm not shy doesn't mean I seek power from other people. I seek the attention and that I need that, grouping. And I don't know how you would get power from other people. I don't know how you could be an extrovert online, because it's a very solitary thing. Even when people show up in the chat and stuff like that, the chat, even when people show up in the chat, and I guess they would be higher right here. Even when people show up in this chat here, it definitely makes me feel good, because it makes me feel like somebody's actually listening to me. But as far as me seeking power from them, I can't get the power from them. Watching a live chat, I can't get the power, the power that they're exuding, because pretty much that's what you do, especially as an interview, is you basically exude the power from within. That's where you draw it up and out. And extroverts love to siphon that out, and that's why being around people physically for me is very, very draining, because I'm not getting anything back from them, but everybody takes from me, it feels like. And that's why I would always consider myself an introvert. And that also plays into a lot of my villains tend to be more of the shy, more of the, what do you call them? Introspective villains, because that's how I see myself. And I give them traits that I have that I don't like, while I give my heroes traits that I do like about myself. The things that I want, I try to expand on. Those are the traits that I try to give my heroes, and the traits that I don't like about myself. I actually don't like being an introvert. I don't like being exhausted. I don't like having a conversation with somebody and literally just being physically exhausted from it. And it could be any conversation, and I have that all the time. And I've already gone 20 minutes, and I keep saying that I'm going to be doing these in 10-minute shorts. And I'm sorry, I spent too much time messing with the figure. But I love Ghost in the Shell, so and I think, yeah, you can see her all the way down. But yeah, so that's really where it's at. And I hope everybody's having an awesome day, and I hope the Daily Doses, gives you a boost up. I'm kind of hoping that people would actually want to basically follow this daily, but I'm gonna get. I am really thinking that this is going to take over. I'm definitely going to try to get these things shorter. I think it's because I have too much to say, and I could do a part 1, part 2, part 3. Like this is already 21 minutes. I could do 3-part, 4 parts and stuff like that, and keep it down, around 5 minutes, which is really where I want to be with these videos. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a wonderful night. We're going to end this with a big cool bean. So cool beans. This is awesome. And I will see you in the next one, hopefully tomorrow.